Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Taxes are center stage in Washington, but it's not proposed tax cuts for Americans that's getting all the attention. It's the president's taxes. Someone leaked his returns and disclosed them on cable television last night, and some say it reveals more than his political opponents expected. Gary Lane has details.
TV host Rachel Maddow released details of Trump's leaked 2005 tax return on her MSNBC show. She received the two-page 1040 tax form from financial journalist David K. Johnston. Johnston says an unknown source sent it to his mailbox, but he offered some speculation on one possible source.
Let me point out it's entirely possible that Donald sent this to me. Donald Trump has over the years leaked all sorts of things.
Democrats made Donald Trump's unwillingness to release his tax returns a top issue of the 2016 presidential campaign. Last September at the Hofstra University debate, Hillary Clinton pressed Trump, suggesting he was hiding something.
Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes.
But contrary to speculation by Clinton and other political opponents, Trump's leaked 2005 tax return shows he paid $38 million in taxes on an income of more than $150 million. He also paid tens of millions of dollars in additional excise, sales, and employment taxes. His tax rate, 25%, higher than 2012 Republican presidential nominee Mitt Romney paid in 2011. Responding to the leaked tax return, the White House released a statement saying, "You know you are desperate for ratings when you're willing to violate the law to push a story about 2 pages of tax returns from over a decade ago." The White House went on to say, quote, "The dishonest media can continue to make this part of their agenda, while the president will focus on his, which includes tax reform that will benefit all Americans." It is illegal for the IRS or anyone to obtain and release a person's federal tax returns without their permission, although journalists are protected if they report the returns, if the information comes from an outside source. And the question remains, who sent the 2005 tax returns to Johnston?
Where these came from is going to be kind of the key question going forward. Who else has copies of these? How many of them exist? Are we going to start seeing other copies from different years pop up?
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Secretary of State Rex Tillerson is headed to North Asia amid growing tensions with North Korea. He will visit Japan, South Korea, and China. Tillerson's 4-day trip will be closely watched for signs of how the Trump administration will handle relations with the country. In the past year, North Korea has conducted 2 nuclear tests and 24 ballistic missiles tests. Aid workers from Samaritan's Purse were released after they were kidnapped earlier this week. The humanitarian organization is run by evangelist Franklin Graham's. Samaritan's Purse put out a statement saying they are, quote, "thankful to God for the safe release of our South Sudanese national staff." The workers were taken from a village near South Sudan's capital city. Violence has been on the rise in the region, and many are facing severe famine. For more information and updates on this story, simply visit cbnnews.com. An Israeli company leading in the development of technology for driverless cars has reached a deal with one of the world's biggest high-tech companies. As CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell reports, the multi-billion-dollar deal is the largest of its kind in Israel's history.
Mobileye maintains its technology already keeps passengers safer on the roads, reducing the risk of accidents and saving lives.
In the event of a possible collision, the system issues an alert, providing you with up to 2 seconds to brake and prevent an accident.
Intel and Mobileye say the $15 billion deal will combine the best technologies of both companies and create computerized driving solutions from the cloud to your car.
Autonomous driving is not just science fiction, it's real.
Entrepreneur John Medved is an expert on Israeli startup companies.
Mobileye, which is our hometown favorite here in Jerusalem, is supplying to somewhere between 80 and 90% of the world's auto manufacturers. They started with collision avoidance, now it's moving into, full-blown autonomous driving stuff.
That includes features like autonomous braking at red lights and for pedestrians, autonomous urban and night driving, as well as a system that senses the driving scene. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the deal proves that Israel is becoming a global technology center. That's not the only plus for Israel. Instead of moving to the U.S., Mobileye plans to keep its main operations here. And rather than being integrated into Intel, it will take charge of Intel's international activity for autonomous vehicles. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Ahead, protecting your health, why getting a colonoscopy could save your life. March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. The good news is this deadly cancer is highly preventable. The bad news is many people don't get the necessary screening. And once they start having symptoms, it could be too late. Here's medical reporter Lori Johnson.
Emma Tuohy's father would have been so proud to see his little girl attending the prestigious College of William and Mary and to learn she'd just been accepted to law school. But he died of colon cancer when Emma was just 13.
It didn't click that he may not be around for the rest of my life. I mean, you always believe that your parents are invincible. You know, I knew that he was sick and I didn't like to see him suffering and in pain, but it never really occurred to me that he would die.
But he did, so he was missing from the sidelines at Emma's soccer games. He never saw her violin concerts, heard her sing in a rock band. He was not in the audience when Emma had the lead in the high school musical. Emma believes her dad would be alive today if he'd been screened for colon cancer.
Which is hard to think about, but it definitely could have been prevented. And I know that by the time I know it started spreading, so if they had been able to catch it earlier, it wouldn't have spread.
Colon cancer usually develops when a small growth in the colon or rectum called a polyp develops into a tumor. It causes symptoms like abdominal pain, blood in the stool, thin stools, constipation, and sometimes diarrhea. Dr. William Rudolph is a colon and rectal surgeon. Here, he's removing a tumor and much of the colon from a 65-year-old woman who neglected to get her colon cancer screening. He's pleasantly surprised the cancer didn't spread to the lymph nodes or the liver.
Unfortunately, most patients that we see don't have as good a luck.
Dr. Rudolph says most of his patients could avoid his operating table if they would have gotten their colonoscopies. Because during that screening, doctors use a small camera inserted in the anus to search the rectum and colon for polyps. If one is detected, it's removed right then, problem solved.
Colonoscopy really isn't painful. Colonoscopies are done under sedation. We give you some really good medications for them. And in fact, most of my patients either fall asleep or don't remember anything about their procedures.
In order to see inside the colon, it needs to be clean, so patients have to take a laxative the day before.
And those laxatives, at least in the past, have been pretty harsh. But we have newer laxatives. In fact, the prep that I usually give to patients are pills. They're very easy to swallow. And yeah, you have to spend an evening in the bathroom, but it's much better than spending the next 7 days with me like this patient today who underwent surgery for colon cancer.
Doctors say you should have your first colonoscopy at age 50, but if you have a family history of colorectal cancer, you should start at age 40. If it's polyp-free, you don't need another one for 10 years. But if a polyp is detected and removed, you need another colonoscopy in 3 years. Dr. Irving Pike says he would diagnose colon cancer a lot less if everyone who is eligible for a colonoscopy would get one. But right now, that rate is only 55%.
Colonoscopy, unlike lots of other screening tools for different types of cancer, is a procedure that prevents colon cancer. It's not an early detection tool. It could be. But the goal is to prevent colon cancer.
In addition to getting a colonoscopy, people can prevent colon cancer by avoiding red meat, increasing their intake of fiber, especially from fresh fruits and vegetables, maintain a healthy weight, and by exercising at least 30 minutes 5 times a week. In addition to getting regular health screenings, eating right, and exercising, there's one more component to preventing cancer, and that's managing stress. In his book, Younger Next Year, Dr. Harry Lodge explains how, over time, negative emotions like frustration, anger, loneliness, and depression suppress our cells' natural ability to fight cancer because stress releases two hormones called adrenaline and cortisol.
They turn off the parts of our body that are built to repair us, to redo the damage that comes from daily life, to keep our cells young and nourished and healthy.
Effective stress busters include strengthening your spiritual life and getting involved in your community. So if more people get their colonoscopies, eat right, exercise, and reduce their anxiety, fewer children would lose parents far too early. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
And Lori is here now to talk about some new research from the American Cancer Society. It shows that millennials may be at a higher risk of developing colorectal cancer than ever before. Can you explain these findings? Should young people be concerned?
They really should be concerned. Okay, now the numbers are still low. 90% of the people who get colon cancer are over the age of 50. But under the age of 50, the number of people getting it has grown significantly from 3 per 1 million people to 5 per 1 million people. So no cause for major alarm, but definitely a significant increase. And researchers say the reason is lifestyle. I went over some of the lifestyle choices people are making. A sedentary lifestyle really raises your risk for colon cancer. And here's another thing. Processed meats. A lot of people are like, what are processed meat? We talked about red meat, but the processed meats are really bad. Now you'll see words like nitrites and nitrates on the label. These are ingredients that are added to things like lunch meats, hot dogs, bacon, all those foods that we love. And they really are carcinogenic. Now you can buy bacon that doesn't have any nitrates or nitrates added to it, and same with lunch meat, but you have to look pretty hard. It's usually organic, and it is going to be more expensive, but well worth it.
Indeed, indeed. Now, we saw some of the signs. Remind us, what are some things we should be looking for and cause for concern?
Well, this is a little gross, but you know, this is life-saving information.
Indeed.
Your stools will be thinner than normal. So if you're having thin stools, not a larger one, you might want to talk to your doctor about that. Bloody stools as well, constipation, and also anemia, low iron, are some causes for concern. So everybody over age 50 should be getting one of these colonoscopies. They're not that bad. And like the doctor said, which would you rather have, colon cancer or a colonoscopy? So it's really, that's what we really need to do, is get those people who aren't getting their colonoscopies in to get them. It's really not that bad.
Is the testing getting any easier? I had one many moons ago, and it wasn't, as he said, the process itself was not that bad. It's all that I had to consume beforehand.
The prep, your colon needs to be clean. And so that means every little morsel needs to be out. And that's what the laxatives are for. But they're not that bad. I mean, when you have to weigh, we're really talking about a life or death situation here. And it's not that bad. So it's absolutely well worth it. So if you're over age 50, you need to get your colonoscopy. If you're under age 50, only really if you have a family history of it.
And a big thing you said in the piece and said earlier is that this is very much preventable and treatable if we catch it early.
The doctor I interviewed said it's almost entirely, completely preventable because, as he said, if you're getting your colonoscopy and they see a polyp, they can get rid of it right then and there before it even turns into cancer. That's what colon cancer is. They're polyps, certain types of polyps that become tumors. So yeah, you can nip it in the bud.
Getting screened. Thank you, Lori. Much appreciated.
The average time that an American spends in business, 46 hours a week. So the opportunity for influence through the marketplace is just phenomenal.
Taking the ministry to the marketplace. Still ahead, meet the business leaders whose bottom line is faith. Russell Moore, the public policy spokesman for the nation's largest Protestant denomination, appears to be keeping his job. The Washington Post reported Monday Moore was meeting with Frank Page, the head of the Southern Baptist Convention. The Post indicated Moore's job was possibly on the line. A spokesperson for the convention told CBN News the two would discuss Moore's criticism of Trump supporters during the election cycle and his support for the right of a New Jersey Muslim community to build a mosque. Moore has come under fierce attack by some Southern Baptists on both issues. However, after the meeting, Moore and Page issued a statement saying they deepened their friendship and look forward to working together in the years to come. The founder and former member of a satanic church in Texas is now a Christian. Jacob McKelvey started the Greater Church of Lucifer in Houston. What began as small meetings in his garage grew into a nationwide Luciferian movement. Many Texas churches protested, but he says it was the love he felt during a conversation with a Christian pastor one day that truly won him over. His experience of the love of God changed him forever.
The power and peace and wholeness that I feel today is far greater than anything that I've ever felt before. And to the people who are watching this, and I'm sure that people from my past will be watching this, I was wrong. I was deeply and sorely wrong. I created a church to destroy dogmatic religion, and he still loved me. So if he can still love me for me to be here today talking to you, then there's no excuses anymore.
McKelvey and his wife officially denounced all ties to Luciferianism in 2015. He now serves as a minister and is dedicated to prove to the world that Jesus saves. To see our full interview, simply log on to cbnnews.com. So, does your life reflect what you believe? One Christian businessman decided many years ago his did not. So he made a change in his own life, and he encouraged other business leaders to do the same. Now, as Paul Strand shows us, they've come together to bring Christianity into the workplace.
Few Christians really spend all that much time in their church buildings, and most don't minister there. They get ministered to. Where they spend most of their time and have their most opportunities to have an impact on others is the workplace.
We're going behind the scene at some of America's businesses to show you why marketplace ministry may be God's next big move.
The average time that an American spends in business, 46 hours a week. So the opportunity for influence through the marketplace is just phenomenal.
Terrence Chapman heads up a worldwide effort to help businesses led by Christians take their rightful place partnering with God. It's called the Fellowship of Companies for Christ International, FCCI. Bobby Mitchell helped start it up 4 decades ago.
Billy Graham made the statement about 10 years ago that he believes the next great move of God will be through the marketplace.
There are 5 million churches worldwide, but far more businesses.
And you're talking 90 million businesses around the world, 28 million businesses here in the U.S.
How important, even sacred, is your work to God? Well, so much so that the Old Testament word for both worship and work is the same.
Avodah is the Hebrew word for work and worship.
Mitchell says he loves spreading through FCCI this truth that worship and work and walking with God should all be rolled up together. Robbie Thompson, head of Conklin Metal Industries, likes the way Ecclesiastes sums it up.
There's nothing better for man than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in his work. And that is a gift of God. And really, it's the gift from God.
Every day, Thompson has these goals for his company and life.
Honor God with how I work, how I deal with employees and coworkers, and to glorify Him really in all that I do, and to create a company where people can find that satisfaction.
But bosses can't force their workers to convert.
And if they want to accept Christ, then that's great, and we would encourage them to do that, but we would never pressure them to do that.
They can, however, talk about Christ and His ways to those who want to hear about Him.
He really is the answer to every problem, whether it's depression or addiction or worry or you name it. He is the answer.
And He wants to be the boss's boss.
God is the owner of your business. He's in the corner office. What if every decision is taken to God the Father before you even make any decisions?
FCCI began with Mitchell, one Christian businessman, wanting to live his life with integrity.
My life did not reflect what I said I believed.
Then he was shaped by the book In His Steps, in which an evangelist gave a church a famous challenge.
Face every issue in life by asking, what would Jesus do? And to act accordingly.
As the head of Georgia's Applied Ceramics, Mitchell and other bosses began meeting in 1977 around Atlanta to see if they could head companies like Jesus would. Soon they started FCCI, and now it supplies videos, materials, and case studies to help all its members in 139 countries do business God's way.
We just streamed some material to 30 million people in Pakistan.
But their core is meeting weekly in small groups of business leaders.
This is an opportunity to come together, talk about real business issues and challenges. So we're not a Bible study, we're a real business type of organization.
And I've seen people sell companies, buy companies, totally re-engineer companies based on the input they got out of these small groups.
For business leaders, it's often lonely at the top, which is why it's good there's small groups just for them, where they can do life together, learn from each other, be held accountable by each other.
You know, a CEO's job is probably the loneliest one in the world. I mean, who are you going to complain to, right? You got a board, you have a staff, you have nowhere to kind of release.
And that's what the FCCI small groups offer.
A safe environment that they can be transparent, they can be open, they can talk about these business issues and challenges.
They want to honor the Lord. They want to get it right.
It's really talking about how do you operate a business in a way that glorifies the Father.
Mitchell says it's the best way to live.
I'm a pure entrepreneur, but the most exciting part of my business career has been walking with the Lord through this business. Wherever God has planted you, you need to bloom.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Norcross, Georgia.
Bloom where God has planted you. Great advice. Stay with us. There's much more of CBN NewsWatch straight ahead. The hymn Amazing Grace inspired a Broadway musical, and it will make its debut in Washington, D.C. when it begins its national tour. The musical debuts in November at the Museum of the World's Bible Museum.
It's the story of John Newton, who was a horrific slave trader, who through his faith became the man who wrote the hymn and started the abolitionist movement in England.
The play is the story of the rebellion and redemption. The production is set to run for 8 weeks at the Museum of the Bible before it begins the rest of the tour around the nation. Right now, it is time for your Wednesday word, and today's word is patience. Remember this, your faith in God brings perfect timing and brings patience. And if you allow that patience to work, He will certainly work in you. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you'll join us right here again tomorrow.